I take the subway every day. Morning commute, same routine. I've lived in the city long enough to know the rhythms. Which platforms are busiest? Which cars smell the worst? Which sections you should avoid unless you enjoy stepping over something unidentifiable? But about 2 months ago, I started noticing her. At first, she was just another passenger. The type you'd forget the moment you stepped off the train. A woman standing at the far end of the car, very still, dressed in a dark, outdated coat. Hair parted down the middle, hanging a little too long, a little too straight, like it hadn't been cut in years. She never looked around, never reacted, never blinked. At least, I never saw her do it. She stared at the sliding doors with this expressionless calm, like she wasn't really seeing them. I noticed her once, then again, then again. Different lines, different times, different directions entirely. Always alone, always staring, always wearing that same coat. At first, I brushed it off. Coincidence. The city is full of weirdos. But then it became impossible to ignore. One night after work, I boarded a nearly empty train. I sat down, already half asleep, when I saw her sitting across from me. Same coat, same hair, same eerie stillness. But this time, she wasn't looking at the doors. She was looking at me. Her eyes were wide, impossibly wide, and there was something strangely reflective about them. Like she wasn't seeing me, but something behind me. The doors closed, the train lurched forward. She didn't blink, or move, or breathe. I got off at the next stop and switched cars. Heart pounding, palms sweating. And yet, when the next train pulled in and the doors opened, she was inside. Same seat, same posture, same stare. As if the 2-minute gap between trains had meant nothing. From then on, it was constant. Morning. There she was, standing uncomfortably close behind me on the platform. Lunch break. Saw her reflection in the subway car windows before I realized she was sitting 3 rows down. Late night ride, empty car, except her. Always her. At first I tried to rationalize it. Maybe she was homeless. Maybe she lived on the trains. Maybe I was imagining her. But she was always clean, always in the same clothes, and no matter what car I boarded, she was there before me. People don't move like that. People don't appear like that. Last week, something changed. I was riding home just past midnight, alone in a mostly empty car, when I saw her again. She stood near the doors, head tilted, staring directly at me, not blinking, not breathing. But this time, she mouthed something, slowly, deliberately. I couldn't hear the words, but I understood the shape of them. "You're next." My blood ran cold. The train lights flickered. The car went pitch black. For a second, I felt someone leaning close, impossibly close. Their cold breath brushing my ear. When the lights came back on, she was gone. But on the seat beside me was something she had not left before. A long strand of her hair, wrapped around a small burnt subway ticket dated 20 years ago, for a train line that doesn't exist anymore. Now, every time the train slows, every time the lights flicker, every time I see a reflection I don't recognize, I feel her watching, not following, not stalking, not haunting, watching. Like she's waiting for a moment when the lights flicker just a little too long, and she won't have to disappear before they come back on.
I missed the last real train home. Work ran late, deadlines, life. I checked the schedule, nothing for another hour. But as I turned to leave the empty platform, a strange announcement echoed through the station. Last train approaching. A sharp jolt shot through my chest. Perfect timing. I backed up toward the yellow line. A train I didn't recognize rolled in. Older, much older. Steel edges rounded, doors dented, windows fogged with dust. It hissed as it stopped, a long, rattling exhale. When the doors opened, a warm breath of stale air washed over me. I stepped inside. The doors closed instantly behind me. The lights inside flickered to life. Not bright white, more like a sickly yellow, humming faintly. The seats were mismatched. Different colors, different eras. Some torn, some stained, some with dents shaped like someone had clawed at them. No other passengers. Not a single one. I sat near the middle. Told myself it would be a quick ride. The train lurched forward with a violent jolt, like it hadn't moved in decades. The windows showed only darkness. Not tunnel walls, not platform lights, just void. I checked for the route map above the doors. It wasn't a route map, it was blank. Just a pale rectangle where information should have been. About 10 minutes in, I heard footsteps. From the far end of the car. Slow, dragging ones. Not the stride of a commuter. More like something pulling itself forward. I looked. Nothing. Just empty seats stretching down the length of the car. The footsteps came again, closer. I called out, "Hello?" My voice echoed way too long for a space that size. Something shifted behind me. A seat creaked. I turned, still nothing. But one of the mismatched seats had changed. When I boarded, it had been green vinyl. Now it was deep brown. Slashed down the middle. Like the train was rearranging itself when I wasn't looking. The lights flickered. The train groaned. And then I saw her. A figure sitting 3 rows down. A woman in an old-fashioned dress, back straight, hands folded neatly in her lap. Her hair hung in long, matted strands. Her face, I could only see half of it through the shadows. I blinked, and she was suddenly 2 rows away. Blink again, 1 row. Then I realized she wasn't moving. The car was, stretching, compressing, breathing around her like a living organism. The lights flickered again, and she was directly across from me. Her face was blank, smooth, no features, just pale skin where eyes and mouth should be. I stumbled backward, grabbing a pole, heart racing. The train screeched, the lights blew out, pitch black. I felt her breath on my face, cold, wet, wrong. Then a whisper, "Stop riding the last train." The lights snapped on, regular lights, bright, clean, passengers everywhere, laughing, talking, scrolling their phones. A completely normal train at a completely normal time. I gasped, stumbling into the aisle. Everyone stared at me like I was having a breakdown. I looked around. No faceless woman. No mismatched seats. No void outside the windows. We were pulling into a station. But as I got off, the doors slid shut, and for just a moment, the windows fogged. On the glass, drawn in streaky condensation, was a single message. Not again.